Hello and welcome back to the Gold Advantage on the Best of 3 Network. As always, I am your host Nikita, and with me this week is the best dad ever, Scoot. How are you doing, Scoot?
Oh, Nikki, I'm doing great. My teams are not doing the best. However,
Your bets are.
it is a blessing that there were no Cloud9 odds last week. That's
true.
to say the least.
Yep.
But I was extremely hot on pretty much every single pick, including a little CLG 3-0 action, which you can have your take on whether or not I was kidding there.
No, 100%
but
legit.
the people will. Oh yeah, 100% legit. I would never lie ever. And when it comes to playoffs, when it comes to 3-0 predictions, you know where to go.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's me. So
ooh, big shout out.
It's
Breaking news. Nadeshot just proposed to his girlfriend and she said yes. Congratulations.
wow,
to
it's
Nadeshot.
actually congratulations to Nate.
What a great thing. Lovely story.
She's been, unbelievably supportive of him. So
I would be too.
it's cool to see.
I would be too.
Well,
if you need a bounce back chick, if it doesn't work out, I'll be really supportive too. But getting back to it, dude, you nailed it with that 22 odd CLG 3-0 weekend. Their first 3-0 weekend in 5 years, I believe. Was the stat?
Yeah, and it's crazy from an organization that I feel like is a staple of kind of the LCS and the origins of it, right? Like they've been around the block.
So long.
And out of anyone, they've probably been down the worst and up the biggest. So maybe TSM is starting their arc on that end. But
yeah, I would say out of the top teams, like the OG teams, because they were like the rival of TSM for so long. And then they just weren't winning. They weren't winning. It was always a bit messy. And then finally they kind of won a couple of back-to-back series. And then, like you said, they've been so bad for the past couple of years. I still am not, this 3-0 start, I think the theme of this episode, you said it, is like, hey, let's not overreact. It's 1 week. I think with CLG, it wasn't the toughest schedule. It's what Golden Guardians, who I do think is a decent team. It's TSM, who I do not think is a decent team. And then who's lost? Sorry, yeah, Dignitas, who I don't think is great. So I think it's a good start. I don't know that long term it's going to. Are they top 6? I'm not sold on that. But it's a good way to kick things off. And I think especially for that sort of, it's a young team. It's an org that's been struggling. I don't think they have a lot of people like CLG lol 10th place again. It's a good way to kick it off and give them the confidence that, hey, maybe not.
It is very hard to come up in 10th place when like the 10th place team ends up like 2 and whatever. Yeah. Now they've established that they have their 3 wins. We expect them to get a couple more along the way. In the spirit of not overreacting, I was going to call them the new T1. But I agree with you. Like nothing difficult across the board. However, the books were way too generous on the odds that they were giving CLG. And even if you took them individually, like across the board, it was a fucking fiesta.
We were getting like
CLG.
2 point something every single time. It was great. Lot of money that made on CLG.
Listen, roster changes worked out. Like team looks pretty solid.
Yeah.
They're beating the teams they should. Now it's time to step into some big dogs and see.
And you're right. And like that's the thing is like beating someone like Golden Guardians, who I think is a strong middle of the pack team, and even Dig to an extent is like, hey, that's who you need to beat to get into top 6. So good on them. Now just don't lose to the Immortals and so on.
Great to see Contracts performing better. I think that's something that you highlighted, that he probably won't stay bad for another split. So that's big for them, in my opinion.
He was like
the worst.
He was the worst. He was the worst jungler. So you're absolutely right.
It's real hard to beat that.
When you're the worst, the only way is up. The problem is that someone else has to take your place, and that sucks.
Who's taking his place then? Throw it out there.
I don't know actually at the moment. Hold on, you're putting me on the spot here. I actually think, you know what, I have a feeling that as much as I don't think Immortals, like the team isn't bad, I just think the org is so bad that I am uncertain on that one. So I think maybe their jungler might be the worst.
Everything they touch turns to shit,
exactly. And it's like really badly. Like it's
it's instantaneous.
They have brought up I think it's Kenvy's a top laner. Fuck, who's Immortals jungler?
I don't know. It's not showing on All Esports. I forget who their jungler is. They have a pretty forgettable roster, to be fair.
I'm trying to remember. This is actually a big one. But yeah, I have a feeling it's Immortals. Otherwise, who could have... Like, if we're talking individual role, the other person that comes to mind is kind of Dignitas. Either Dig or Golden Guardians, probably.
Yeah, but it would have to be, and let's not overreact, as we said prior. You know, like 1 and 2, bad start, but nothing. It's not world ending, to be fair.
Yeah, I think
like FlyQuest is 1 and 2, and they were pretty good last split. So.
I wasn't really gonna dive into FlyQuest, but since you bring them up, I actually think the FlyQuest actually looked a bit more like second half FlyQuest than first half FlyQuest.
Would you?
So I'm actually a little bit more concerned because I predicted them to be top 6, and for them to come out, they ended the season last year in not a great way, very much a downward trend. And this season, I'm looking at them and the way they kick things off, I was like, oh, this is not looking very good.
It's kind of running, not to pull the LEC into the conversation a little bit, but it does run a little bit parallel to Misfits in a way. I would say.
It does.
In kind of the position they were in as well.
It does.
In terms of just
and actually
performing a little bit at the start.
You know what? I forgot about this. So last week when I predicted them to be top 6, that was if they had the same top laner Kumo. They've dropped Kumo for Philip. Philip is bad. He's not good in academy. Philip is not good in academy. Maybe they believe they can bring him up and like teach him how to play. I'm all for that, but I actually think the top lane in the LCS is one of the better lanes. Like definitely one where you're like, oh, this is an area. I think he's gonna get dumpstered on, and so I actually kind of want to edit my prediction of FlyQuest in top 6 because I wasn't aware of Philip. And I don't think FlyQuest makes top 6 because they basically made one roster change. It's worse. And you kind of need your top laner to be somewhat of a rock, especially if you're not playing around them.
Yeah, top lane is like LCS is pretty top lane heavy, to be honest. I mean,
so I'm
got some fucking world beaters.
I'm concerned about FlyQuest. They just didn't look that good.
Yeah.
And they've introduced a rookie, and I don't think he's going. And it's not his fault. Like. It's just it's rough. Anyway, so I'm not sold.
Yeah, you really didn't hold back on that one. He's just he's bad.
Yeah, well, he just wasn't that good in academy from what I could see, and I looked at a couple of podcasts and stuff, and people were like, yeah, he just wasn't great. And now he's against better people. So essentially, you've taken a top laner that was fine, not a great top laner, but he held his own and allowed the rest of the map to play, and you've replaced him with a much weaker link, which is similar to Cloud9, who is struggling, 0-3.
Okay,
but you and I think agree on this. They don't have a bot lane. It's like they're berserkers. They're not there. They're playing with 2 King and what's his name.
Is it Destiny or something like that?
100% not their fault. Like those 2 guys are doing their best, but they are young academy players in a meta where your AD carry is essential for those mid to late game fights. It's rough.
Well, your AD carry is literally that last word. Like they're gonna carry you if they're playing well.
Exactly.
And I feel like, we're gonna get Sven and Berserker this week, hopefully. At least that's what I've heard.
Have you?
Or at least they're posting it on social media, so we'll see. But like, I don't know. And I said this to you before the podcast. I think the idea here is that when you're up against professional competition, yes, they're academy players. Yes, they're fairly solid down there, right? They're talented, no doubt. But the problem is you don't have a C9 that scrimmed with them. C9 for sure boot camped with their guys in Korea. That's without a doubt. But you throw them up against competition, and they know where the academy players are, and they're gonna go find them. They're gonna victimize your bot lane, like, and then your way to win is, I don't know. You really don't have that many win conditions when you eliminate your bot lane, especially in this meta. Feels very, very difficult to do. I feel like there's a lot of control that comes through bot as well right now, in terms of just like priority in the mid lane, being able to gank there, and then also priority over dragon. So like, there's a lot to C9 not being good right now, or like not performing well week one. And I feel like this is in the theme of not overreacting as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think 100% this is not something I'm going to look into too much. They are playing with a bot lane, like you said, so they're 0-3. My bigger kind of question is that starting 0-3, and if Berserker and Zen don't come back this weekend, I think you can predict they're probably going to lose 2 more. Being 0-5 or let's say 1-4 is rough. That's not a like.
Yeah.
It's I have no doubt that Cloud9 will make playoffs, but it's still not a great position to find yourself in when you are, to start off the season. It just does. It limits your margin of error.
No, I mean, like, I don't disagree with that at all. But end of the day, like, you're gonna bring your pros back and they're gonna play well, and they're gonna beat teams that they should beat. Like absolutely. But there is the argument that, they played 2 teams that I don't think they were capable of beating with this roster this week in EG and TL. Like that isn't gonna happen.
Yeah,
like
100 Thieves.
You're not gonna win those games. Yeah, and that's even more difficult if you have subs as well. Like that's gonna be extremely hard to win, and 100 Thieves wants to beat them down and tweet about it. But like there is the argument that the talent that they do have on their roster should have maybe carried them through the Golden Guardians game and possibly pulled out a victory there.
Well, congrats to Licorice. First win against Cloud9. He's like 1-13, so he was pretty happy.
Yeah, so,
it's like that famous, I don't know, maybe you're too young to have watched Princess Bride, but no man beats me 14 times in a row.
I never thought Princess Bride would be quoted on this podcast. I would have prepared better if I knew that was coming.
I think and they're against Dignitas, who I think has started off poorly, but sits around that golden odds. Like literally, they might go 1-4. And all I'm saying is we have 18 matches in a season. If you lose 5 of them, or you're 1-4, you're already putting yourself in a situation that's just like, it's fine. They'll get out of it. Like I said, I have no doubt they'll make top 6. It's just not a fun situation to be in. How much can you experiment? How much can you push the boundaries? You kind of lose a little bit of that leeway. And especially as you're playing with a new team, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, but were they ever going to experiment with this roster? It's the most like,
standard,
let's win the LCS situation I've ever seen in my life.
That's true.
So I not hopeful on that.
All right, two other rosters, TL and EG. I think we kick it off. Which one do you want to start with, actually, TL or EG?
I think EG is the easier one to kind of get over here. Like,
not missing a beat.
It wasn't
3-0.
Yeah, like not missing a beat, but also, not the easiest schedule to step into to start a split.
Yeah.
Mostly in terms of them beating 100 Thieves, right? Like C9 with subs, we just said it. Like that's not a crazy victory, I think.
But you still need to beat them.
Also,
that's the thing. It's one of those things where if you lose to them, people are like, "That's really big." You get no credit for beating them, but you get destroyed if you lose to them.
Yeah, but their bot lane was gonna pull them through that fucking game anyway. Yeah. And it's like if Dady's gonna pull them through finals games, he's gonna pull them through a split 1 game against Cloud9 with subs. The win against 100 Thieves, I think, is the big impact one here. It does show that like they are still top dog, or at least like playing up to that level, and they haven't missed a beat in terms of the momentum that they created for themselves in, not international play, but domestic, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So that is really encouraging to see. I think this roster is almost as good as ever, and if they continue to play with confidence, like extremely.
Yeah, the MSI hangover isn't there. I don't know if you guys listen to the dive, but it's worth checking out. And they were talking about it, just like the issue with the teams that go to MSI is that it's long. You go basically straight from the season because to get to MSI, you have to win playoffs. So you played all those matches, no break there. You go straight international. You have like 2 weeks in your international. You're playing overtime overseas. Normally after that, there's a boot camp, which is exactly what they did. Flying back, going straight into it. And there's a real chance of burnout. It's great to see that EG doesn't seem to be struggling. And they have a pretty easy week coming up. They're matching up against Immortals and CLG. I think that's a real shot that they're starting this season off 5-0, which is, even just mentally, what a great boost.
I mean, beating CLG is going to be a little bit of a problem if you ask me. So we'll see on that end.
All right.
But I saw Danny's tweets too, and he was talking about it a little bit. Like, all he said was pretty much like, I'm burned out. And that's going to happen. Like, you just played a shitload of League, and he was like, I need a break from this pretty much. And it is good that they have that realism about it, and they're not like pushing to the point of, hey, I want to quit playing this early, especially for a guy that young. So encouraging to see from them and their whole team around them. I do, sometimes reply to one of their doctors on Twitter here and there and talk to him. He's a really nice guy. What's his at? Oh, I forget. I'll shout him out at the end. But him and I have a good rapport on Twitter. Yeah. So I enjoy talking.
Nice. Sweet.
It's pretty interesting.
Alrighty. TL, I don't really have that much to say. They came out strong. They look good. They also just didn't have the toughest schedule.
No, that's something that just sticks out from the beginning. Like, no part of this was realistically difficult. Yeah. You look at Dignitas, Cloud9, Liquid, but as you said, you're not going to get credit for the wins that you should win. Yeah. And you're only going to get shit if you lose.
Exactly.
So, again, 5 All-Stars probably.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm like, congrats. This is great. But also, let's keep it going. Kind of teams that shit the bed. TSM still looks like shit.
Yeah, the Maple Edition is not what we expected it to be, or at least me. It's disappointing. Yeah. At least they have a win already. It's a good sticking point because they did not have one at this stage last split. But their only wins Immortals.
Yeah.
To be fair, CLG comes out hot and they lost to 100 Thieves. So, I don't really know if they're bad yet. They won the one game that I think they were capable of winning.
Well, they're going up against Team Liquid. So this is going to be, we're going to see something. And then they've got Golden Guardians. Like I said, I'm not sure. I think I said that maybe they'd make playoffs. Golden Guardians is the team that they need to beat to make playoffs. So they're not a top 4 team to me. They're on the 6th, 7th. And so it's like, will they make it in? Will they not? Now that I'm pretty confident FlyQuest is not. There's a spot up for grabs.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think that's going to be a pretty impactful matchup for sure coming up this week. And then if they're able to pull off a win against CL, who knows? That could get really tricky, but I think even in their losses at the end of last split, they were playing somewhat better League, and then they kind of got a little bit hotter. Definitely. So at the end, and hopefully that momentum continues a little bit. We know their organization to be quite toxic.
So that actually, so supposedly they're bringing up Mia as the support. Within an hour or something of that being tweeted, someone from the org put out a tweet being like, oh no, there's no official starter. We expect the two of them to fight for their spot. Shenye and Mia. It got deleted really quickly, but it's like, oh dude, you guys, I never think that making someone compete with a teammate over a career is going to breed a healthy dynamic.
I mean, the idea even being there is the problem.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact
it's not that it was tweeted or anything like
also
that.
Is another level of, so
yeah, that sucks and that's stupid, and it almost has less feel than CLG dropping their entire roster and putting it on a Bud Light advertisement or whatever the fuck that was last year. But why does that idea just run through your head? Just get a grip and figure it out. You're the staff. You're not the players. It's not their job to pick who's gonna play this week. It's yours, and you better know who's better than the next person. Exactly. So
and you want to encourage them to work together. Anyway, it's dog shit. It's dumb. Matches of the weekend. So I have 3 on Saturday that I highlighted. You did not do your homework and put any highlights. So bad, Scoot.
I like to fire from the hip, and it's been working recently.
Yeah, all right.
I am a terrible father, and that's why I don't have kids.
You claim you're working, but what did you do all weekend, young sir?
I played a lot.
Exactly. And what's your rank? What happened in Valorant?
I accidentally hit
accidentally hit Immortal 2.
It was an accident.
Yeah, it was an accident.
I just got some good lobbies.
There we go. There we go.
You.
All right.
shooting
The
straight,
first
too.
match I want to talk about was actually the Dig versus Cloud9 match. Don't have odds for it because I think
You're not going to get odds
because you're not going to. But if we can get odds for it, and if you get Dig at like let's say 2-3, Cloud9's playing with their subs, I would take Dig 100%. I don't think that's
you're
going to
get them at that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to get those odds against the C9 sub roster.
Yeah. So
that's just not going to be like they're not going to make that mistake.
Yeah,
right?
I think
they definitely made it last week.
But if you can
Not
get
again.
C9 at like 2 point something odds, I would look at taking that.
Yeah, this comes down to when C9 just announces their roster and then you can hammer.
I think even with subs, because Dig didn't look good.
Yeah,
in week
maybe. I mean, Dig didn't. They weren't great, but at the same time, like C9 did lose to everyone.
They did,
so.
but it's week 1. It's the first time the subs are playing. You know, maybe the jitters are over. I'm just saying, like, look, if the odds are generous enough on Cloud9 because they have subs, it might be worth a little taste. 100 Thieves versus Golden Guardians was my next one. And
I don't think there's a ton of value here.
well, so the question was 3.13 on GG. Are we tempted?
No, not really. I think 100 Thieves smashes them. I would take the spread on them. I'm not sure I have it right now, but
up.
yeah, I think it'll be around, based on these odds, I would say -6.5, -7.5, -8.5, probably -7.5.
Okay.
I would take that all
Okay.
day. I think 100 Thieves runs through them like a freight train.
And the final match I actually want to talk about was Counter Logic Gaming versus FlyQuest. I have CLG at 1.806 and FlyQuest at 2.02. I don't. I think I actually had a CLG at 1.9, so I would jump on the 1.8. I think those are really good odds. And like I said, top lane on FlyQuest not looking good. I think they're playing like the second half FlyQuest, which was not the tied for first place FlyQuest. It was the are we going to survive and make it to playoffs FlyQuest. So yeah, I think those are pretty good odds to grab on CLG.
I don't disagree with you at all. I mean, I'm taking CLG at 1.806. I'm probably taking them down to like 1.7, 1.65 even.
Well, I don't know if I take 1.65. I'd take 1.7.
I think they would run it up here. I would even consider the spread. They'll be favorited -2.5 probably based on this. Somewhere around there. And that's within a team fight too, and they're the favorite, and I think they're a lot better than FlyQuest. So
fair enough.
You'll get better odds there. You'll probably get like 1.9, 1.92.
All right.
But you need the kills to go your way. So
okay, now
gets a little weird.
Sunday, Golden Guardians versus TSM. Golden Guardians at 1.86, TSM at 1.94. I like the TSM odds, 1.94.
I agree with you.
I think
unfortunate.
I think TSM's being a little bit overlooked. I mean, Golden Guardians is solid enough. You can make the argument either way. Basically, my notes are either way you want to go on this, the odds are good enough, and I think both teams are middle of the pack decent. So pick one.
The only issue that sticks with me a little bit is that it wasn't a fucking beatdown of Immortals. It was like a pretty close match.
Yeah. And if that's your opinion, Golden Guardians, I've always thought Golden Guardians is a team that has not fulfilled their potential.
That's also true. So, I mean, I don't know. Golden Guardians team is just not impressive to me. Like the roster wise, I feel like TSM has a lot more firepower on that end, and to get them at underdogs against Golden Guardians is pretty solid. So I'm gonna stick with you here. But again, like that win against Immortals, not crazy.
No.
By any means. They did not, a lot of times I like to say teams did what needed to be done against other teams. I don't think they did. They got the win. Yeah. They got the result, but they didn't fucking blow them out of the water. So that lingers with me a little bit.
I don't disagree with that. I think the thing with Golden Guardians, they lost to a CLG that's hot. They beat Cloud9, and I think TSM is Cloud9 with subs is similar to TSM. So that's an argument you can make for them. But they lost to FlyQuest. So
Yeah.
I'm leaning more towards the TSM side of things, just because I think they have
You're
a
real
little bit more
bearish on
veterans, a little bit
FlyQuest.
more talent. Speaker is just a great jungler. I think Huni's a great top laner. I think Maple is a good mid laner. So, in theory, the odds are there either side, though. You can make the argument either way. So go for whatever you believe in. CLG versus EG is the other match I want to talk about, because you can get CLG at 3.49, EG's at 1.31.
No, CLG will be handing EG their first loss.
I'm like 3.49
like, that's what's gonna happen
for the storyline. I'm kind of into it.
You know, this is it comes into its own because EG was the team with the storyline, and now there's another one rising.
I know everyone did the parlay you shouted out. So you've made 22 times your money. Take a little bit of that and just put it into CLG. Just back the boys. Back the boys.
It's a CLG 5-0 start. I mean, that's that's on the table at this point.
That's like a franchise record.
CLG 5-0, number 1 in the LCS. Nobody can touch them. Yeah, we'll see if that actually happens, but I think they hand EG a loss here. Low-key.
And otherwise, like, look, a lot of the other odds why we're not talking about it's like Liquid FlyQuest. Okay, well, Liquid has 1.238, and I don't believe in FlyQuest enough. So I'm not touching
Liquid
Immortals.
Is a
Dignitas.
1.238.
I don't know who's better there. So I think a lot of this stuff is just like the odds are very skewed.
I mean, Dignitas is better. Let's just be clear.
Okay.
1.86. Right. Take that all day.
There you go.
A better team.
I'm
not impressive by any means,
away.
but Immortals is bad. Very bad.
Fair enough. Okay.
Very, very bad.
All right. Well, there we go.
Just like you're about FlyQuest, I'm about Immortals. That's how it is. Okay. We're always gonna have a team to victimize.
Always.
And of course, it's Chris's team.
Anything else to say about North America?
Nothing profound, I would say. Still need better coaches. That's my take. It is and always will be. We need better coaches.
We need better structure.
And more respect for the coaches.
Structure, yeah, definitely. All right, well then, over in Europe, where Vitality, I just realized, is basically the New York Nets of the LEC. Players who don't respect coaches, who think that they manage the league, the Kyrie Irvings
let's
hash
that one out. Keep going.
The league. Kyrie's on his way out. Vitality, super team put together, fails to deliver. Absolute disaster of a season last year. We haven't.
But are they failing to deliver so far?
So they did better. I watched their matches because I'm supposed to.
I mean, it's exponentially better start than last split. Let's
2-1. Like, they beat BDS, who I think is the worst team in the league. They
by a mile. I've been saying this. They're ass. Terrible. They're so ass.
So bad.
Terrible. Just bad at League of Legends.
Yeah, they beat Misfits, who I think is looking horrible. Basically, there's Vitheo and no one else, and it's a real issue for Misfits. They playoff run was not great, and it looks unfortunately like they're continuing that trend. They lost to Mad Lions, who are looking better. And in their loss,
Mad Lions look a lot better.
I felt like it was still a similar problem. They didn't look super coordinated. It's like more coordinated, but I'm not sold on Vitality still.
It just looks like they played more ranked.
Yeah.
And they're just better individuals again. Like that's kind of what's going on here. I'm not gonna say I'm sold on it. I think Mad Lions right now though, in the way they look, definitely looks like a top 4 team again.
Yeah, they're looking way better. Way better.
Way more in that conversation to like actually do some damage this split. Maybe make an international tournament at the end of the year.
You know what? I'm gonna just shout this out, because Mad Lions went 2-1. I actually think they basically went 3-0. And Rogue went 0-3. So Rogue won that match, but that was a lucky steal of Elder. Without that, Rogue 100% loses. So exciting match, crazy steal. But Mad Lions, I think, has started the season really well, with a lot of confidence, and Niski seems to have slotted right in and fixed whatever issues they had before.
Yeah, a lot of chemistry feels like it's back for Mad Lions. Like the team just looks better across the board. And yeah, I mean, listen, you can say what you want about the Rogue loss, whatever, and sure, it was a lucky steal. At the same time, can't let that happen. It is a steal.
It's like on 24.
Can't let it happen.
Come on, that's like is as lucky as lucky gets. And Rogue looks like trash.
Okay, this is you're leading me into another conversation point.
Okay, finish up your point.
I will say,
finish your point.
Where Vitality does not lack talent, I think Mad Lions does not lack chemistry in this current form. So they're kind of operating a little bit as opposites, and I think it's quite interesting to follow. So we'll see what happens moving forward. They have the same record, but I think Mad Lions played far better competition this week than Vitality did.
I also think Ahmed just played better. He wasn't great last year.
Yeah.
Last split, sorry.
Definitely.
And he's
just consistent, and I think it works better in a roster that's playing well.
I felt like he wasn't.
That's kind of where I stand.
Last split.
I don't think he was super inconsistent though, if I'm remembering this properly. Now, you mentioned Rogue, and this is interesting because you're a Rogue fan. You love Rogue so much. And they should be 0-3 to start this split. But is that good for them? This is my question. Because you can win all the regular season games you want, but if you can't win a final, nothing fucking matters. And
see, I don't agree with that.
They're finally facing adversity.
Yeah. I don't agree with that. I know there's a lot of people.
Success is only hallmarked by not winning for as long as you're kind of in that conversation until it becomes you've been in every final and you haven't won it. And then it becomes, a different conversation of okay, this team is overwhelmingly successful. Yes, but they've never been, finished the job at the end of the day. Yeah. So
my concern, I'm is this roster broken? Has it been broken by because they are really good. I argue that they are, in a way, over the last four splits, you could make the case that they are the best LEC team that didn't deliver in a series, which is the most important series. But nonetheless, if you play them 10 matches, how well do they do? Now, I think this depends on the pressure and so on, so there's other factors to come into it. But essentially, is losing once again in the finals, are they just are they broken? Have they been Michael Jordan?
I mean, the thing is, they have a few guys that have been there and a couple of guys that haven't. And then it's for those guys their first time. And that is kind of where the concern lies, because I feel like your guys that have been there and lost,
to me, it's the guys who have lost.
They're ripe to deal with.
You see, you think? I'm more worried that Larssen, who has just not been able to win, is now got this is a little bit like Jensen. Jensen he has been in the argument for the best mid laner with Bjergsen in North America. I think Bjergsen was better domestically, but internationally Jensen performed better, had better results.
Yep.
Every time Jensen though matched up against Bjergsen, he lost. And there's famous clips of him, the adrenaline and his hands are trembling. And it's the pressure, I think, got to him more than the pressure got to Bjergsen. And then at a certain point, I feel like he got a mental block when he faced Bjergsen. And he had to go from Cloud9 to Team Liquid to completely change his environment, change the teammates and so on to win. And then hopefully now I think he's beyond that. The thing with Rogue is that the couple of veterans that they have, so you have Odoamne, but it's Larssen I'm looking at.
Here's where I stand on this. This is kind of my read. First of all, it's not going to be a mental block situation, at least until they get to a final, and then it's about breaking that, right? Sure. I think they'll be better served coming from a lower bracket run if they do reach a final in the future, which this might help them with that to start, to be fair. But you say what you want about all the Rogue rosters, right? And they've been fucking incredible for the last 3 to 4 years. Yeah. I would say 4 is the right read on that. And a lot of those guys have been around for a lot of the run. I would say like what 60% of that is pretty much the same roster across the board.
No. Because remember they had Finn,
or at least like
they
pieces
swapped
have
Finn
moved
out,
like in and out.
Oduame
Right?
came in, Malrang came in at the start of this year. Larssen has been here for quite a while. Comp replaced what's his name? Comp replaced Thingamajig in TL now. Hansama.
Tough person to replace, by the
Sorry?
way. No, okay.
Yeah, so
but
this
here's
is a
the thing.
pretty new roster. They've made a lot of changes. The one consistent is Larssen.
Yeah, and I guess just speaking for him specifically, but other guys that have lost kind of in finals and situations like that. But I guess for him and his Rogue legacy and pretty much his legacy as a player, you hit a point where like, yes, he's a great player. And yes, he's been a part of some of the greatest rosters the LEC has put together domestically. But, you know, are you one of the greats?
Yeah.
And that becomes, he's extremely talented. Yeah. Do not get me wrong here. Unbelievable player. But if you want to break through on that end and become one of the people that is solidified kind of in LEC history and don't want to be forgotten, you have to get
there are
over
levels
like,
to this shit.
It just doesn't
There's
matter.
levels. And like this is the thing is like no one is the worst LEC player, like Philip, destroys 95% of the players that players that are listening, that are watching, and so on. He is already there.
Oh yeah.
The fact that I'm like he's bad compared to the very best players in the world is like no, he's actually a phenomenal player. But there are layers to this where, like you said, it's like are you good? Are you great? Or are you one of the greats? And
he's had his opportunities to really establish that. And now it's about reflecting, kind of looking back on that and, you know, how badly do you want it, right?
Yeah.
Like you're 0-3 to start a split. This is the one team that I think sticks out to me as should not be 0-3.
Yes.
And it doesn't seem like it's a talent gap or anything like that. We watched them daddy Fnatic all of last split and they're out there losing them. And of course, you know, right here, and we can have our conversation about two things being mutually exclusive and also happening later this podcast, because you know there was quite an argument about that. I will be yelling at Chris on the phone later. There's just there are levels to this shit, right? And I do think again, if he does come from a lower bracket run, they've picked up some steam, and maybe that's been the problem all along. Like they've been in the upper bracket just stomping teams out, and then you get to a final, it just doesn't get put together. So I don't know. Maybe it's good for them. Like maybe this helps them rebuild and reflect a little bit. We'll see though. And you know who also continued their domestic dominance.
yeah, G2.
Hoo-wee.
I mean they
so
have not missed a beat.
They've figured out how to play European League. That's for goddamn sure. They also figured out how to play American League for a couple weeks in Korea. And they fucking destroyed EG over and over again, which was heartbreaking to see.
It was rough,
to be honest. But they didn't miss.
No hangover for them either.
Nope.
There's not much more to say about it. They just look good. They look solid.
This is just such a team fight meta, and they have the team for it. Like there is, I don't think they're the craziest like early game laning team of all time or anything like that. They don't do that much of like, hey, we have crazy map control. They do it against bad teams, right? Like they get the job done on that end. They're definitely talented, but when you put them in a 5-on-5, it's like the chemistry is just 100.
You let Caps scale. You let them play their team. Yeah, that's so good.
Caps is so back too, and what, they're in front of a crowd all the time now. You're fucked. Like
they're coming out so good. By far the number one team. I think there's two kind of like mediocre teams that I want to shout out. One is Excel, who I was not sure how they perform. I feel like they've come off. They're continuing performing. Like they made playoffs for the first time. Still great for them. And they lost to G2. No, nothing wrong with that. But they beat Fnatic and Misfits. So great. It looks like actually Excel is going to stay in playoffs contention.
So, I mean, you want to repeat after me, because, Fnatic can beat Rogue and then lose to Excel, because that is exactly what I said was going to happen last week. Not to toot the horn on that end, But I will say, very encouraging to see them bring the, something to prove energy that they had going into playoffs last split. And honestly, throughout the regular season when they made not exactly a run, they put themselves in very good position early, and then they had to bring it back.
They made that roster change for Mickey, and I was like, are they messing up with the chemistry? I was completely wrong. It stepped things up.
Really
it's
worked
looking
out.
Good.
He should have never been on a bench to begin with, to be fair, but it's worked out for them.
But also
and honestly,
good for him to recognize
he's put the
talent.
ego away too.
Recognize the talent, go to a team, because he's a sort of player that I wouldn't be upset if he held out for like a top 4 team, and to see the talent in this team and go like, no, I can help, I can be the final piece of the puzzle to take this team to their first playoff and then keep them there. That's a great, I think, testament to him. The other team, Astralis. 10th place.
Well, it takes It takes a ton to put your ego aside and just step into a team that maybe isn't the best. And, he came off of G2, and he could have easily raised the stock elsewhere. Or just not played.
Exactly.
Astralis? I just want to Astralis?
I just, a little shout out. 10th place team. Terrible team. The CLG of
their
Europe.
roster changes look good.
The roster changes look good, and look, they're 2-1. They lost to was it G2?
G2. Yeah, they lost the best team in the league,
and they beat BDS, the worst team in the league, and then they beat Misfits, who are looking bad. So you know what? Like
everyone beating Misfits, baby.
Good for them. Good for them. It's a nice little. I just want to shout out that, like, hey, actually, you know what?
I hope it continues.
Astralis is not looking too bad. Is all I'm.
Are they the new Schalke? That's the real question.
We'll see. I'm definitely. You know what? The thumbnail is 100% going to be you saying, "Is CLG the new T1?"
I don't think anyone's. We took for granted what happened in the first year of recording this podcast with Schalke.
That was so phenomenal. That was so exciting.
Oh, great for content too. So fun to watch. That was
so good.
They were just fucking rolling, dude.
It was.
It was awesome.
It was the craziest.
And all those players went on to do good things. That's the fun part as well.
Yeah, it was a nice thing.
Just a weird roster, man.
All right, matches. Let me pull them up. Kicking it off with Vitality versus Excel. Excel at 2.11, Vitality at 1.74. I'm taking Excel. I think they have that momentum. They seem to be doing well. They're clicking, and I'm still not convinced. I think that Vitality's still playing like 5 individually. Instead of playing solo queue, they start playing champions queue, so they're playing together. That's it.
I agree with you. I think Vitality's, one absolute wrecking ball of a week that they gave to Misfits. That match where they outkilled them 23-5 is a little bit of an outlier, and also a statement about Misfits, maybe not being very good right now. So I would roll that into an XL spread on the kills. I'd take it on the plus side at you're probably gonna get plus 2.5, plus 3.5 on this end. At 1.9 odds. I think even if they lose, they can get within that range. And usually I'm a team fight away guy, but Vitality won a match negative on kills, which is not encouraging. No.
So we're in agreement there. Rogue versus Misfits. Rogue's at 1.28. Misfits at 3.72. I'm bringing this up because despite thinking Rogue is not playing well, I think Misfits looks like a disaster. So this is a bit of a bait line. Upsets do happen. It's a best of 1, so maybe you want to bet 3.7. It's your money. Do with it what you will. But I think Misfits is. I think Rogue has issues, but they're a good team. I actually think Misfits has issues, and they are becoming a bad team.
If you are a best of 3 maxi and you listen to all of our content, including the Money Hill on Call of Duty, for me, this is a FaZe Clan rebound match for Rogue, and I think they're going to destroy Misfits minus 8.5. So
I think the thing is with Misfits, it's not that they're a bad team, so I want to kind of just clarify that. I think other teams have figured them out. I think other teams have figured out.
Yeah, I think that was happening going into playoffs.
100%.
And it's continued. The problem is the playstyle didn't change. And you're not being super adaptable.
That's exactly.
And you're not that creative with your drafts. So, what do you have left except the playstyle that worked prior, which people have now figured out? So you're fucked.
Exactly. That's exactly what I want to say, so I'm glad we're on the same page. Final match of the day that I want to talk about is Mad Lions versus Fnatic. Mad Lions are...
You don't want to talk about G2 BDS?
Well, if Chris was here, BNB was here, he would say 6.24 on BDS. He is taking that. I'm not. No. Fnatic is 1.68. Mad Lions at 2.2. I am taking Mad Lions all the fucking way. They are playing really well. I don't think Fnatic is playing that well. As in, like, are they playing like the top 2 team? No, I think they're playing like the top 4 team, Fnatic. So this is going to be a fun match to watch, and I think the odds on Mad Lions are so generous that it's worth taking.
No, I mean, as is the trend, usually by the time we hit week 2 of a split, we are a lot in agreement. I think the odds are too good to ignore on Mad Lions here at 2.2. There's no reason not to pick that. Also, Fnatic lost to XL, who, yes, is playing well, but they're not playing better than Mad Lions.
No.
Like, Mad Lions has been playing better league than them. So, like, there's no reason to ignore that.
No. Any other matches from first day you want to talk about?
Ooh. There's a dog in the background. Sorry about that.
It's not really your fault, is it?
Astralis SK is a little interesting. I do like Astralis at 1.86, honestly.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, I'm
SK is definitely capable of winning that, but I think Astralis, you know, they're bringing a little big dick energy to the league right now.
They are. So. I'm with you on that. I'm not against that.
Whoa. I did not just say that.
You what?
I said right at while it's hot. That's, yeah.
I like that. Day 2, there's not much that's exciting me. Like the SK Misfits, maybe I take SK at 1.93. I don't know that SK is exciting me though.
No, neither of these teams is exciting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like Misfits is bad.
I feel like Misfits is on a downward trend, so you could get 1.93 odds on SK and maybe they win there.
These are like throwback odds from like 2 years ago.
Massively. Mad Lions versus XL, 1.67 on Mad Lions, 2.23 on XL. I'm leaning towards Mad Lions in this match, but if you're a real XL maxi, then 2.23. Good odds. Definitely worth taking.
Which I am. So I'm taking XL.
You are? Okay. You think they're better than
They're
Mad?
hot. No, I don't think they're better than Mad, but I think
you're a degenerate and you'll
them.
take the odds. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, of course.
Astralis versus Rogue. Do you think Rogue gets it together, or does the Astralis at 3.4 with their big dick energy ride it while it's hot? Or have you come by this point and you're hopping off?
If Rogue loses to Misfits, you really have to look at this and be like, okay, it's time. Well, obviously the odds will adjust.
Misfits. They can beat Misfits, but I don't know.
Can they beat the big, hot, sweaty Astralis? That's the real question. I honestly, if Astralis beats SK, you also have to look at this. Like, I think there's a lot that rides on day one here.
There's a lot that rides on day one.
Not in the theme of riding.
3.46 on day 2 on Astralis.
But like, listen, I'm breaking down right now.
There's a 5-man team going into day 2.
This is a wait and see for me. This is a wait and see. Just a little.
BDS worst team in league, not worth talking about. And Vitality versus G2. I think 1.52 on G2 is not bad. There's 2.55 on Vitality. I think this is going to be a Licorice versus Cloud9 situation for Perkz. I just don't think he's going to be able to beat his old team. Especially not with the way G2 is playing.
I 100% agree.
So you can take 1.5.
I'm taking G2 spread.
I don't love those odds, but free money's free money.
I would take G2 minus 8.5, minus 9.5 even, probably minus 8.5.
That's a bit much.
I would say, minus 8.5 is probably what you're going to get, or like minus 7.5, somewhere in there. But you're going to get like 1.9 odds for that. And I think that's like pretty nice because, one, there are fans back again. Mm-hmm. And it's Caps against Perkz. Yep. We know what happened last time.
He'll be aggressive.
Like, Cap's going to fucking shit on him.
He is.
So, like, that's pretty much the end of the story. And he's playing out of his fucking mind right now. So, why not just slam it more?
All right.
Just they're EG in this league for G2. That's what they are.
Fair enough.
It's a whipping board and it's full of memes. So...
All right.
It is what it is.
I mean, G2 rides them hard. So, There we go.
Who's winning it all, Nikki, in each league? I actually want to hear your thoughts as it stands.
As it stands right now,
Yeah.
I think TL and G2.
TL and G2.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's interesting.
I think that's I just have a feeling that TL has too strong of a roster to accept where they're at, and I think first split bit shaky, but I think they have such veterans who really understand the game. I think they are going to come into playoffs to win. Yeah.
Yeah. I can agree with that. They also like there's some points on the line there for international.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, is LCS switched it up? They're not still summer finals. Equal.
No. They changed it back. Yeah, they keep changing the format because they're like maybe the format is the problem. And it's like no, it's not.
It's the coaches.
It's the coaches. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We're wrapping it up. Another long episode. I will edit it down. Thank you for all your support. You guys have been watching and checking out our YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and we really appreciate it. If you want to talk to us more, or if you want to tell us how wrong we are, please jump into our Discord. You can find the link in the pinned tweet at Best3 Network. You can find us on YouTube at Best3 Network. You can find us on Discord at Best3 Network. Please like, subscribe, hit the little bell button, all that fucking fun stuff. That's about it. Thank you, everyone. It's good.
Yeah, all I gotta say is peace out. Absolutely love the community. You guys are beautiful. Later.